What's going on, guys? Jacob here, Miami Dolphins Syndicate. Haven't been able to make videos the last 2 days covering the draft, but just got off of work and able to talk about what's probably the most interesting pick the Dolphins made today at the very least. That's Quinn Ewers, quarterback out of Texas, former #1 recruit out of high school. A quarterback in his time at Texas, it's certainly a mixed bag. He did what he was supposed to do against lesser competition. However, notably fell short in the big games this last season. 0 for 2 against Georgia. Had a good game in one of the 2 games, but in the national championship game against Ohio State, again, not the greatest showing for him. Nearly choked away a lead against Arizona State. The year prior, so 2 years ago, really was when we saw his best game in a Longhorn uniform against the University of Alabama, a game in which, if I'm not mistaken, he actually came out with injury towards the end. However, they were able to get the job done with the upset there in I think it was in Texas. But again, a career that, had he not been the #1 recruit coming out of high school, there would probably be a different narrative surrounding Quinn Ewers, and in fact, he probably would have been drafted a little higher, because people have a hard time stripping away that first impression. And the first impression of Quinn Ewers was he came out as the #1 prospect from high school at the time, and just wasn't quite good enough. Now he comes to the Dolphins, a 7th round pick or 6th round pick, whatever it was, towards the end of the draft, obviously, and let's just be completely honest and completely real about what this draft pick is. What this is not is a quote-unquote long-term answer replacing Tua. What this is not is genuine competition for Tua. What this is Mike McDaniel doing what he has done in the last few years, and he just wants to acquire talents in the quarterback room and find a way to make it work. At one point, Quinn Ewers was the most coveted prospect coming out of high school. At one point, Zach Wilson was the 2nd quarterback taken off the board to the Jets. Mike McDaniel has made it clear that his idea is, hey, give me a guy with some talent, give me a guy that can do something well, and I'll find a way to make it work. Now, guys outside of Tua, he hasn't really made it work. There's been a lot of struggles at the backup quarterback position, and now the Miami Dolphins are going to be going into the 2025 season with the former 5th overall pick, with the former 2nd overall pick, and the former #1 recruit coming out of high school as their quarterback class. All 3 of which have had questions in their careers. Certainly 2 of them have massively let down as to what their standards were when we were first introduced to them, that being Zach Wilson and Quinn Ewers. Tua, it's been a mixed bag, however, certainly has had really good season, has had his best season under Mike McDaniel. This is a quarterback room that is without a doubt the most talented Mike McDaniel has seen. Now, I do expect us to bring in another undrafted free agent quarterback just to give Quinn some competition for the #3 job, because there's no guarantee there. Even maybe the #2 job, depending on how Zach Wilson does. Although I do fully believe Zach Wilson will get the #2 spot in the quarterback room, which is a very coveted #2 position. As we all know, Tua is likely to go down one way or another. So the number two spot in the quarterback room is very important for the Dolphins. It is a position in the league where if you're a backup, you know you're probably going to get some real meaningful snaps. The guys over the last few years that have been thrusted into that spot have not done a good enough job. And now this offseason here, the Dolphins are clearly taking it a lot more serious. So just Quinn Ewers as a prospect is not a bad quarterback. A 64% completion percentage guy, 30-plus touchdowns last year, over 3,400 yards. There is talent there. You then go to look at the film, and specifically you look at the film from the perspective of his wide receivers that he's had there, and he's had quite a lot of talent. We've seen these last 2 drafts, multiple receivers in the last 2 drafts from the University of Texas have gotten drafted, and sometimes you find yourself evaluating those wide receivers and saying, had they had a better quarterback, maybe they would have been drafted better. Had they had a quarterback that can make a few more throws, that can make a little bit more plays, especially in big moments when you're getting highlighted the most, that's when the microscope is on you most as a playmaker, as a quarterback. Had they had that better quarterback, maybe we could have seen some of these guys get drafted higher, most notably this year, Matthew Golden. There was conversations of him being number 1 wide receiver taken off the board. If I'm not mistaken, he goes as the number 4 receiver off the board, counting Travis Hunter as a wide receiver. Certainly a guy with a lot of talents that didn't quite have the raw numbers that some of his other wide receivers in his draft range did have, but still a very talented receiver and a very talented receiving group that Quinn Ewers did disappoint with to an extent. Had he been a 2-star or 3-star prospect, and you then look at the numbers that he had, you would look at him as like, wow, there's room for growth. And this is a quarterback that probably would be a early day 3 pick rather than a late day 3 pick. But those expectations are killer. And when you are thought to be the man and you end up producing anything short of being the man, that then clearly leads to organizations having some doubt as to whether you should be the guy. There was a lot of quarterbacks taken ahead of him that aren't as talented as Quinn Ewers, and it will never be as talented as Quinn Ewers is. But is that talent going to materialize on the field? I trust Mike McDaniel and the offensive coaching staff to get the most out of their quarterbacks. So whatever happens this year, whether Tua rides out the full 17-game season, whether we have to see Zach Wilson, whether we have to see Quinn Ewers in there, I do trust the quarterback room more than we have in years past, where when Tua goes down, you just cross your fingers that we win 1 of the 4 games. And that's what we did last year, just getting that 1 win, having a better backup quarterback. Maybe some of those results switch over, whether it's Zach Wilson, whether it be Quinn Ewers, whether it be somebody else we end up bringing in. I have more confidence in what the quarterback room can produce. And look, right now, compared to 3 months ago, I have more confidence in Chris Grier. It's a Quinn Ewers video, but I like the moves he's making. He's not forcing the issue. He's looking at what the team needs. He's not going for star power. He's not trying to put a Band-Aid. He's not trying to put lipstick on a pig and just attack skill position players. We drafted Ollie Gordon, a running back that's similar to Quinn Ewers, highly touted prospect. Definitely did not have his best season. Ollie Gordon did, as well as some off-the-field issues that obviously tanks his draft stock. Where if he had as good of a season as he did last year, maybe you're looking at an early day 2 guy instead of a mid day 3 guy. So getting that 1 skill position, as well as just consistently filling out positions of need, offensive line, secondary, defensive line, interior. Checked a bunch of boxes. Now, whether those guys end up panning out, we'll find out. But at the very least, Chris Grier has put this team in position to have some long-term success through the draft, replace guys that have walked because Chris Grier put this team in position to not be able to re-sign them. So overall, while yes, it's a Quinn Ewers video, I'm satisfied with how this draft has played out. Obviously, we're going to see some undrafted free agents now start to slide in here. But let me know your thoughts on the draft. Let me know your thoughts about Quinn Ewers down below in the comments. We'll see y'all next time. Have a great rest of your day. I'm going home. Go Dolphins.